Hey everybody, how's everybody doing this evening? Hope everyone's doing well. Trying some new stuff tonight. Got microphones set up so that you guys can hear me better. 2 condenser microphones on either side of this, actually. Oh man, Dragon and Limerick. Bummer I missed you. Next time. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hey, what's up, 129 basketball cards? How's it going? Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. It's not a 335 mark. It's Eastman T59V. It's very cool. Noodling a bit with it here. Yosemite Sam, how are you? Jeremy Gamble. Chris, I'm glad you can hear and see everything okay. I've been kind of trying to hone this down a little bit and get it to work better. Voice is clipping. Yeah. Let me play with the mic levels a little bit here. Is that any better? Hopefully not clipping now. Trying to do something a little different. We ended up getting a webcam so that we could do these stream things, but it turns out the audio on the webcam kind of sucks. So I'm trying these microphones. I've got condenser microphones set up here. Let's just cut it down to just the one microphone. How does that sound, Mike? Is that still clipping? It's not showing clipping on my interface there. It's still flashing green like it's not clipping. I wonder if Mike, are you watching it on like a phone or a laptop or something? Maybe the speaker is clipping. Hi, James. So yeah, I'm just that's weird. Seems like nobody else is getting clipping. I don't know what that's about. I'm not very loud, honestly, in here, and I'm showing all green on the microphone, so on the preamp here. So I'm blending this other one back in, maybe some a little extra depth there. Hi, Jason, how are you? How are those 10S guitars? WR, word to the big bird. I guess that's what that's supposed to say. They're pretty good. Yeah. Hey, Dad. Trez Fowler in the chat. That's my dad, for you guys who don't know. Yeah, they're pretty good guitars. I think you sort of get what you pay for, a little bit. Like, I mean, if a 10S guitar is not as good as like an Eastman guitar, but it also costs way less money than an Eastman guitar. But yeah, I would recommend them. I just think don't expect it to be like a custom shop guitar, but they are pretty good, I think. And you get some stuff on that low price range that you don't usually get, like ebony fingerboards and nitro finish and stuff like that. I think they're really good, especially if you get one custom made however you like it, which is what I would do. I would recommend, if you get a 10S, I would have them make you one. I mean, you have to wait probably 3 or 4 months or something for it to be done, but it's better to just get, your guitar made however you want. Got an Epiphone BB King Lucille today. Cool. I played a couple of those that I thought sounded really good. I'm playing the Eastman T59 today with the varnish and everything. Look at that flame. This guitar's hot. Yeah, I think they do. Word to the Big Bird. I think they do some kind of like master build type stuff. They'll pretty much do whatever you want them to do. So you need to be really specific. I think just tell them like exactly what you want out of a guitar, and they should be able to help you get it. Cam Gaylor says I ordered my first electric yesterday. Awesome, fantastic. Welcome to the other lung. Play a Cream farewell concert riff. Yeah, that's that Legend A60 over there in the corner. That's the red channel. Just sounds great. The amp sounds great. Is that through the Mesa? No, it's through my little Legend combo over here. I did a video a few weeks back about it. It's a little like tube solid state hybrid amp. It's fantastic. It's really quiet too. I mean, like this is the strings acoustically. You know, so if I sorry, no, that's weird. You can only see like the top part of the guitar. All right, I'll mess with the camera in a minute. Wannabe Guitar God, how are you? You might be able to hear Cora in the other room. She's watching Blue's Clues. She's very enthusiastic about it. Heather's not with us tonight because she has been feeling a little sick for the past couple of days. She's had kind of like a little allergy cold type thing, so she's chilling out in the other room. Got any Peter Green needs really so bad in the easement? I don't know Peter Green really well actually, but bear with me for a second here. I got my red Greco here, and when I was kind of just cleaning this guitar up and putting a new set of strings on and stuff, I opted to take the bridge pickup cover off because a lot of times on these guitars I think the bridge pickup cover off sounds better. But I went ahead and flipped the magnet around, so now in the middle position on this guitar, you get the Peter Green thing. Honk. This guitar rocks, man. It rules. Super cool. Word to the Big Bird wants to know when is the next part of the Relic videos going up. I'm planning on shooting the next part of it, right? Or I guess like tomorrow, either tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening. I had to go get my heat gun because I had left it in my other shop, but I did actually find it. So, but that's the next thing I got to do is do the heat gun stripping of the finish, and then so I'm hoping I'll get that video up tomorrow or the next day or something. YouTube auto flange, yeah, I know. There's not really anything I can do about it either. I mean, like, I'm using better microphones and everything, but this just seems to be the way it goes. Like, I'm not even using the webcam mic anymore. I'm just using condenser microphones on either side here. I've got them in a 3-to-1 ratio so that they're not phase canceling or anything. I don't know if I said hi, but hi, Bobby. By the way, you had recommended the Planetone Elite Pro Strat pickups, and you're right. Yeah, they're great. I love Planetone stuff. HK, sing a song. What do you want me to sing? I don't know. I'm out of voice shape. I haven't been singing in a while. I mostly just play guitar now. I'm really enjoying playing this Greco. This thing's super cool. Oh, I'm not good enough to do a Zappa solo. That guy's a weird player. Like, his licks are very eccentric. Greco or Eastman 59. They're different. You know what I mean? Like, apples and oranges. Like, they're the same kind of shape. You know, you would think that they would be similar, but like, this is a great guitar. Which, by the way, I did end up finding out. I'm almost positive that I know what this is now. I think it's a 76 EG 700. I think. But yeah, as far as which one, the 59 is more like a 59. You know, it's very woody. And the Grecos that have maple necks, and they're built differently, like kind of a more 70s style, and they're more pingy. They've got more top end, and kind of like they're snappier and a little meaner sounding. The 59 is very like sweet, to like a softer, nicer sound. These are kind of mean sounding. I actually think the T59 is probably a little easier to play than these for me, because these have the old fretless wonder frets on them. They're like real low frets, and that's a bit weird for me. I'm used to playing big frets, so I have to use smaller strings. Like, I have to use 10s on these guitars, or I just can't like get under the string to bend it. How's the relic build going, Bobby? I'm working on that. I did that first section, just kind of showing my thought process. And the next thing I'm going to do is strip the finish off the body, and I'm planning on doing that tomorrow if everything works out. I went and got my heat gun today because I had left it at my other shop. So I'm planning on doing the stripping and the finish tomorrow, and so hopefully that next part of the series will be out, within the next day or so. Where basically I'm just going to show you how to strip the finish off of the heat gun and scraper, and then kind of sand it back and get it prepped for paint. Trying to catch up here. Cam Giller, do you still have a good? Yes, I do still have it. It's just over in the rack where you can't see it right now. Sold my 78 Greco SE500 today to keep my 81 Tokai. I have never played a Tokai, but I know a whole lot of people like them. But I don't know. I've had good luck with this particular kind of era of Greco. Is really something I dig. It's not for everybody. These are a very specific time period. You gotta like that kind of 70s kind of Gibson guitar, which is like not Gibson's stuff they're most known for. Mark Anderson says, listen to the Intertwine record on Spotify this week, tearing apart. Oh, thank you. Awesome. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs on there. That's a great riff, too. In case you're wondering, it's just it's really easy finger picking thing. That was like one of the first songs we recorded. I just thought that riff was kind of cool. Yeah, Ken K. I would like to check out a Tokai if I ever kind of happen across one. These Grecos have just been really cool for me. HK, what neck do you prefer on the Les Paul type? On almost all guitars, I like fat necks. Like, the fatter, the better. You will be hard pressed to find a neck that is too fat for me. Maybe if you got one of those like classical ones that was like super wide, and maybe I wouldn't like it, but I like a big, chunky neck for sure. Which is funny because these Grecos actually don't have super chunky necks. These are on the thinner side. I think because they were made for the domestic Japanese population, and they tend to have smaller hands. So these necks are really kind of a little bit skinny, smaller, but they just sound really good. So I kind of work around it. But if it's my choice, I prefer the thick necks. Does your 59 have JL pups? JL pups? I'm not sure if I know what JL means. This 59, the SB 59, it came with Lawler low wound Imperials. Oh, Jason Lawler, I bet that's what JL means. Yeah, it came with Lawler low wound Imperials in it, and I still have those, but now it has plain sound pickups in it because those are kind of my jam. I'm glad I could take a look at it, Bobby. That was really cool. I thought your detail work was really good. Like the parts where there were dips and divots in the finish, and like they kind of looked like it gotten dirt in it and stuff. I mean, it was nice work. Your neighbor Wang is the lacquer nitro. I don't think it is on this one. I think this is some kind of polyester, polyurethane, something. It is on Misa. That's an 800, and I'm fairly certain this is a 700. And you may notice, you see the binding on this one is kind of like, kind of creamish, but but this one, I don't know how well it'll turn up in the light. The binding is actually a lot, like, kind of more yellowed and darker. And that finish just feels different. And when I put some acetone on that a while back in the cavity just to test it out, it did kind of get gummy. So I think that's nitro. I'm pretty sure this is like some kind of poly something. It's not very thick though. You can kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but there's some like chips missing here, and you can kind of see right down to the wood, and it's not very thick. Jason Wade, I got the new guitar cleaned and oiled the fretboard and strings. Strings are still leaving the black residue on my fingers. Yeah. It could be the fingerboard. Sometimes those fingerboards where they'll have a rosewood fingerboard that they're going to put on one of those guitars that would traditionally have an ebony fingerboard. And so what they'll do is they'll stain it, and then that whatever they put in the fingerboard will continue to come off on your fingers for a while. I had an LTD Alex Skolnick guitar that I thought was a really great guitar, but it did that to me for months, for like 6 months or something. After I get done playing it, there'd be like some kind of dark residue on my fingers. Yeah, that was a good idea, Bobby. I think that's not dissimilar to what I do and what you guys will see when I do the video on that. Yeah, Ken, I figured that's probably what the jam was. That the Japanese people kind of preferred the smaller stuff. For me, it's about the guitar. Like if I'm just like have my choice, I prefer a nice chunky neck. But a guitar that's great, I will work around whatever the neck profile is. So the only ones that give me trouble are the really, really skinny ones, like skinny flat, like Ibanez Wizard flat, where it's like itty bitty paper thin. Kind of makes the inside of my hand hurt a little bit, I think, from the way my thumb comes forward. But anything that's like reasonable, I can work with. Hi, Jesse. How's it going, man? HK, do you get a fresh pool of inspiration for writing songs with each new guitar? Sometimes. I think it kind of, a lot of times I think if I get a new guitar, it's because I had an inspiration of some kind. You know what I mean? Like I'm questing after something. But sometimes it works the other way around. Like well, for instance, this. When I got this, immediately I was like, well, this looks like a lot like a Jimmy Page guitar. Yeah. So it kind of made me want to do riffs kind of like that, you know? That kind of, it kind of made me want to do that. But I don't know. I just have stuff in my head all the time. And my phone is full of ideas. And yeah, fingerboards can take time to clean off. And depending on what they're stained with, they may like never like really get clean, you know, or if you start putting oil on it and stuff. Do I play any Bonamassa riffs? I know a couple. Like I know, well, this, I think this would be in the wrong tuning technically, but like I know the, that's a great riff. Phil Davenport wants to know, do you still have a Hughes and Kettner app? Yes, I still have the, you can't see it's over on my desk here, but I've still got the Black Spirit 200. I'm going to do some more with that because I think that is probably one of the coolest, like, innovative new designs that I've seen in a while. And I really would like to get more in depth with all the different stuff you can do with it. I just need to borrow an iPad from somebody so that I can do the presets for you guys so that you can download them. Like I could just do it myself and, you know, by hand, but yeah, if you have like the iPad app, it's easier to save presets and then be able to put them up so you guys can download them if you like the sound. Yeah, it's great. It's a great amp. The Dank Savage, what's the most annoying song people ask you to play? Well, when I played in bar bands, it's the usual suspects, you know, like don't ask me to play Freebird, you know, like or Sweet Home Alabama, or they'll be like, oh, do you know that Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress song? I'm like, yeah, I mean, yes, but like, I don't know. I don't really like it when people come up to a band, like a cover band, for instance, and be like, can you play this one? Like, no, this cover band's not a jukebox. Like, if they have a sign up that says, hey, come ask us to play something, go for it. But like, it's kind of uncool, I think, to do that. People don't realize what it takes to learn how to play a song and then have everyone also learn how to play the song. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, one I used to get asked about all the time was like, it was like a rehab song, which I never understood because like anytime I was doing bar band stuff, it was always like classic rock. And they're like, you know this rehab song? I'm like, what does that have to do with anything ZZ Top that I've been playing thus far? Why would you assume that? So let me put this guy down. We're up, I guess. Oh, so I thought maybe we might talk about this a little bit since I'm gonna be doing some relicking stuff. Not right now. I'm not going to be doing relicking stuff, but I'm going to do some relicking stuff tomorrow and do some video, and so hopefully those videos will be coming out sooner rather than later. So we got this here Mustang Infinity HH. So you can see it's a pretty thin body, and it's got the contours, so it's not a slab body, but I think this is going to be a really good candidate for doing the kind of retro relic aging thing. And an Oldsmobile to match your Backlund rocker box. Well, that's not actually my Backlund. That's just like they kind of loan some of those guitars to me to do demos of, and then I send them back. But I would like to maybe crowd fund for an Oldsmobile though. Bobby wants to know, am I going to spray it nitro? No, because, well, nitro is great for that if you want the vintage thing. And really, nitro is the best for doing the relic job. However, one of the reasons I wanted to do this kind of series of videos to show people how to do it that don't have access really to all that kind of stuff, or they maybe just don't want to deal with it. So my idea is to get as close as we can with kind of like over the counter, or not over the counter, like off the shelf spray paint, basically. That you could get at your local hardware store as opposed to having to use lacquer. I like lacquer, and if I was going to do like a really like super pro job, that's what I would use. But in this case, I'm going to do it the inexpensive way to show you that you can get a pretty good result that way. Yeah, it's pretty light. I don't know, maybe 7 pounds, 7.5 pounds. You can feel it a little bit more in the neck. The body is ultra light. It's not neck heavy, but it is ultra light. The trick to doing the getting the finish off this is going to be with the heat gun and the paint scraper. That's going to be interesting to show you guys because I never know exactly where it's going to start. Like where the crack is going to start that you're going to start scraping from. So we'll see. Establishment wants to know delay versus overdrive pedal lead wise. Well, I like both. Like for me, that's my my thing with lead is that I want overdrive and delay. That's if I had to have 2 pedals only, 2 effects, it would be overdrive and delay. James Davison, why does your PRS have an erect white peener etched into it? It's not. I answer this question like every live stream and in every video that it's in. It's a lighthouse. Like see, there's the shore. There's the lighthouse. There's a bird over there. Going to finish check it with a razor. I don't actually think that I will need to use a razor to do that. Because acrylic, the kind of acrylic paint that I'm going to use, is not as sensitive to temperature as nitro is, but it is sensitive to temperature. And you can make it crack and check with that kind of like heat up, cool down thing. So I'm going to start with that, and then if I don't get exactly what I'm looking for, then I'll use a razor to kind of start it in some areas. But I think probably I'll be able to do what I want to do with the hair dryer and some compressed air. Favorite Tele pickups? I don't have a ton of experience with Tele pickups, like bunches of different kinds. I like I really like the bridge pickup in that Tele that I've got back there. That's a Planetone like 51 original, and it's kind of like a like spanky, like aggressive Tele sound. It's fat, but it's still spanky. It's a great sound. And it's kind of hot too. It's like probably almost 10K or something. It really kicks. But I had a Nash T52 years ago that had some Fralin, like a vintage hot bridge Tele, I think is what it was, and that sounded really good too. Have you ever sung "Given to Fly" by Pearl Jam? No, I haven't. I'm fairly certain I know the song you're talking about. I'm not a huge Pearl Jam fan. Heather Fowler wants to know, What's your favorite quality about your wife? Asking for a friend. That's a good question. What is my favorite quality about my wife? Probably your sense of humor. She's got a good sense of humor. She's witty, smart. Like if I have a joke in my mind, I don't have to say it to Heather. I can just kind of look and make a face, and she knows what I'm getting at. Oh, Freebird and Nickelback. I don't mind Nickelback. Freebird gets a little old. If you're gonna request Nickelback, as long as you're not like, play How You Remind Me, you're like, man, there's other Nickelback songs. There's lots of other Nickelback. Just like there's lots of other Skinner songs. Poison Whiskey, Neil and the Spoon, Mr. Banker, Things Going On, Swamp Music, all kinds of killer Skinner things that are not Freebird or Sweet Home Alabama. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I was reading some chat there. I was catching up. So yeah, the first thing we're going to do with this guy is strip the finish off of it with a paint scraper and a heat gun. And yeah, play Freebird. But the thing that can be a little weird with this is that, like, if you have a paint scraper that's too sharp, then it can dig into the wood, and you got to be careful about that because you don't want to do that. But if it's not sharp enough, then you're going to have a lot of trouble getting up under, because there's going to be multiple layers of finish, So thank you, HK. Appreciate that. Heather, I'm sure, appreciates that in there. She's sitting in the other room in the bed like, I'm still kind of getting used to this, messing with this thing, because it's got like a 24-inch scale on it, so it's a short scale, which feels weird to me. I could just been like two and a half steps or something. So yeah, tie it behind a car and drive over rough rocks. I know that's what everybody always says. They're always like, if you want to get a relic, just tie it behind a car, hit it with a hammer, set it on fire. I'm like, I don't know. Would you do those things with a regular guitar? Like, that's not how those guitars got to look relics. Thoughts on the new Alter Bridge record? Yeah, I think it's dope as well. I was just listening to it earlier while I was in the gym on the bike, and it's banging. I really like the Native Son is a kicking tune, and also Pay No Mind. I think it's really cool. I love that like synth thing they're doing. Show the color it's got to be painted. Yeah, I think I mentioned that in the video for it, but this is the color that Heather selected for it to be painted. It's kind of coral. That's what it's called. It's like salmon pink-ish. It's interesting. It's kind of. I think it's going to look sort of like just pink that looks old, especially after I get done with the aging. So this is the color that we're going to use. Of course, first I got to strip the finish off, and then sand it and prime it, and then do this, and then do clear, and then age it. But I have yet to find a way to do a really convincing relic job on like this kind of finish, though, like actual polyurethane finish. It's just hard to get it to look old. I mean, you can make it look like old polyurethane, but that's not a particularly attractive look, I don't think. It doesn't look weathered. It just looks like kind of grimy almost. It's hard to make it look good because the finish is so tough. I mean, like guitar players are weird. Like, in any other market, you would want the finish to last as long as possible. And this one, we're like, oh no, I want the finish that ages prematurely. I want the finish to look beat up. But we also still use vacuum tubes, so there's that. Indian restaurant vibes, yeah. Jason, any thoughts, experience with the Slick guitars? Well, I think the design is cool. I've looked at them a few times because I was trying to get GFS to send me one to do a demo and like a giveaway for you guys, but I could just never get them to play ball because I think their customer service sucks. Like, not good. They make some good stuff. It's like some of their parts are pretty usable and expensive, but I just had really bad results with their customer service as a whole. But anyway, on the Slick guitars, I think the designs are cool. I like the idea of the brass bridge and the way that they do the solid ash and the kind of sort of relic-y paint job and everything. I like that. I think it's a cool thing I saw, but I've never played one. I've never gotten one in my hands. If it is executed as well as it looks like it is, then that's probably an insanely good guitar for the value, because they're like $200 or something. But I can't verify that because I haven't played one, and I'm not going to pay for one because GFS on principle, they kind of irritate me now. They messed up some of my orders before, like several times. So I don't deal with them anymore if I don't have to. I like the look of that one they do that kind of looks like a double cut junior though, like with just a single P90. What band would you most like to hear put out a new album? That's a good question, Heather. Chickenfoot is up there, I think. I'd really like to hear a new Chickenfoot record. Grand Funk, if I could get actual Grand Funk, like Mark Don and Mel Grand Funk, that would be something I'd be into hearing. Yeah. I think I've pretty much given up on hearing any new Rush albums. I think they're done. Best sounding blues amp. That's kind of subjective because it sort of depends on what kind of blues you're talking about. But I mean, I think you can't go wrong with a good blackface Fender amp. Tube screamer. That's like your automatic lead button. You use kind of a scoopy sounding blackface, deluxe reverb or super reverb or something like that, and then you hit the front end with a tube screamer. But I also really like that kind of early British blues thing, like the old JTM 45 kind of sound as well. Yeah, MCR would be cool. If they did something like as good as the Black Parade, like we don't talk about that thing that happened after the Black Parade. Have you ever played the Les Paul ES models with the F-holes? No, I haven't. I've seen a few of them. I think maybe I rewired one for a guy a few years ago. I didn't really play it though. I just enough to make sure everything was working. He wanted a pretty quick turnaround. Seems like a cool idea. Like, my only issue is when they do those and they do it in a way where it's like a laminated top and back, and then they don't put a control cavity patch on the back of it, especially for the switch one. I know that's how semi-hollow and hollow body guitars work. A lot of times they'll just run everything through pickup holes and F holes and stuff. But as an electronics technician kind of thing, like from that standpoint, like going to work on pots or change pickups or whatever stuff that you're inevitably going to need to do, that's a real pain in the butt. So I hate that. I never ever buy guitars without control cavities unless there's just something extra special about the guitar. It has to be really, really good for me to get past that. This thing actually sounds pretty decent. itself. MHS pickups. Plug this in for a second here. See what it do. I really think Squire's making some, you know, surprisingly good stuff right now. Do you typically mod wiring on Strat style guitars? Yeah, I usually have a couple of mods that I do. Nothing crazy. The one that I always do regardless, no matter what, is if it doesn't already have the bridge pickup hooked up to the tone control, I always do that. And then a lot of times, like if it's my personal guitar, I then disconnect the middle pickup from the tone control. So like your tones would be like, it'd be like your volume control and then your neck tone and a bridge tone and no tone on the middle pickup. And I do that because I think the middle pickup kind of sounds, if you take the tone circuit out of it, kind of sounds a little brighter and snappier. So when you put it in those in-between positions, it's kind of clucky in a nice way. That's, oh, and then treble bleeds. I put treble bleeds in everything. What's the most recent riff idea that you've had? Oh, I was kind of messing with one. It was like a clean thing. I don't know how well you really hear this, but like a. I think this guitar might need a little intonation work. And I don't know if you noticed it there, but like I'm so used to the long scale that when I went to pick back by the bridge like this, and I just completely missed it because I'm so used to like the length of the guitar being longer than this by like 1.5 inches or something. What is the audio? Sounds funky. Yeah, it is what it is. What is the most useful scale mode that you'd like to use besides pentatonic, major, minor, or most interesting? I don't know. I mostly base everything I do around the pentatonic, you know, like the minor and major pentatonic, like minor pentatonic and A. I kind of added the flat 5 blues note in there. Like I base a lot of what I do off that scale, and then what I would call like the extensions of that scale. So like, so you can, that's 3 octaves of the same thing. Yeah. And then the major pentatonic, like if I was playing it again in A, you would just play a pentatonic like as if you were, instead of where your first finger would usually be, you put your pinky there and then play a pentatonic like that. So basically what you're playing is F sharp minor pentatonic is the same thing as A major pentatonic. So I do a lot of that, and the extensions still work the same way. Same kind of thing. Yeah, I do most of my stuff with that, and then there's like a couple little modes that I connect and stuff here and there. But that's what I do most of my work with. It's just about phrasing, and I do a lot of hybrid picking. You know, like a lot of this stuff. I see my fingers. Hi, Lucas, awesome channel. Thank you. Can you tell me what's the model name? If you're talking about this guitar, this is a Bullet Mustang, a Squire Bullet Mustang HH. It's like a $150 guitar. Pretty cool little guitar, honestly. Like, you know, if I was gonna play it myself personally, and I wasn't like doing it for Heather, kind of, I would put bigger strings on it because it's got a short scale and I like bigger strings already. But other than that, I'm surprised at the quality. Like the pickups do not suck by any stretch. Better late than never, Jake. Good to see ya. Yeah, unfortunately, the YouTube does compress and do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I would have to do an outside program streaming thing, which I just had not gotten to yet. I've been trying these things a little bit at a time, you know. I got microphones in here now, so that's a start. You guys can probably hear me a little better. What was the biggest breakthrough of your playing? I've had a couple, I think. Like the first really big one that I remember was figuring out like vibrato, kind of like really getting the idea of vibrato. Because in my mind, I always thought like vibrato was just you know, like as fast as you could shake it, you know, and that's not always the case. There's a lot of subtlety to it, and whether or not you start fast and or you start slow and then make it fast, and that kind of stuff. That was a big one for me when I was like 14, 15. Yes, vibrato is very important to me. It is. I judge people on their vibrato super hard. Like like when I see those people that do this really like, you know, they do all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And they'll go, nope, you lost me. Like, I don't care how fast you can pick and how clean it is. Like, if you can't do vibrato, then I do not want to listen to your guitar playing for personal entertainment. Let's see. But yeah, the next big breakthrough for me was legato, figuring out the idea of legato playing, which just means like with guitar, it's kind of like mostly just doing left hand hammer-ons, or left hand for me. I'll try and do it here. I usually have more game for this kind of stuff, but like this kind of thing. Yeah, so like, I'll pick the first note and then everything else is. Not playing super great right now, but that was a big thing for me. Like when I started getting into like Mark Tremonti's stuff, figuring out how to do that stuff, and then that in turn led me to figuring out more intricate scales and do the 3-note per string thing. Kind of just, you get into more shreddy kind of stuff. It took me a while to get there. Like Eddie Van Halen was the first one that I was like, oh yeah, because there's that thing, and I'm the one where he goes, which is a fantastic lick. Outside of the, but yeah, that probably sounds a little weird to the compressed vibrato, YouTube, all that stuff. Yeah, I agree. It's a make or break thing. How old were you when you started playing? I was 14. And word to the big bird, which scale is that? Depends on which one you're talking about. I did a few different ones there. If you're talking about that little quick Eddie Van Halen thing, that's like what I would call like a symmetrical scale. It's not even really like a scale, because if you slow it down, it sounds not great. I'm playing this. That's not really a scale. But the trick is doing it this way. See how I played that one twice? And then up here. And then this last one you go, you flip those two. And then it's really, it's less about the scale itself and more about the pattern in which you play the notes. You know, so like if you go up 1, 2, 3 triplets, yeah, then you might do some kind of staggered triplet thing going back down. Yeah, it's really not a scale. It's more like just practicing your kind of finger dexterity. But Eddie turned it into something really musical. You do it quick like that. Yeah. Ever played any 70s Alvarez? Yeah, I played some of those old like Alvarez like Yaris and stuff, and I mean they were really nice, like really nice guitars. But I mean, you know what I think about Japanese guitars from that era. Like, I mean, Japanese guitars in general, honestly, anything after like the 70s, like a lot of Japanese stuff is really good. There's some crap in there, I'm sure, somewhere, but a lot of the guitars that would be like a similar price point to like a cheap guitar here would be way better from that time period from Japan. I need a video on how to shred like that. I've never learned, and I just want to be able to do it at a passive level. Yeah, I mean, like the shred kind of, I don't know, like I don't even, for me, like shred is I associate with like Ingve, you know, or like what's his face, Michelangelo Badio, or those guys that play like so fast that you almost can't even like make out the notes, which, by the way, impressive. I'm not knocking on them at all. That's what I think of when I think of shred. But then there's also what I think of is like playing more just like with a quickness. Like Eric Johnson to me plays with the quickness, but I wouldn't call him like a shred guitar player. You know what I mean? Or some of these other guys, like this one guy I was watching on YouTube recently, like Sean Tubbs, I think, was doing some stuff, and I was like, man, that's really meaty, nice sounding guitar playing, but still really quick. It just had a lot of character and content in it, musical content. But if I had to recommend to learn some of those techniques and stuff, if you want to learn Paul Gilbert, check out Paul Gilbert's instructional stuff from like the late 80s, early 90s. Check out John Petrucci's Rock Discipline, which is incredible. I mean, it's like really dated and kind of hilarious to watch, but the content is really good. And then I really liked Mark Tremonti put out an instructional DVD right around the time Blackbird came out, like around 2007, 2008, something like that. And that's where I learned a lot of that stuff to begin with, because I was just really into him at the time. So, but he's got a lot of good techniques in there. That's kind of where I learned that, like that sort of thing. What's your thoughts on the sped up fake guitar playing being exposed? That I didn't know people were doing that. I mean, I don't like watch a lot of people playing fast, if that makes sense. Like I'm not super into watching people play fast. It has to be in a great musical context. That's the kind of stuff that I like. I'm way more interested, like I would much rather watch like Robin Ford or something, you know, than one of these guys that goes, you know, it's really impressive. But so yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. I always kind of figured like Dragon Force might be speeding it up a little bit, like you know, when you hear that stuff in the like on a record, you're like, that's impossibly fast. Like sounds like a video game synthesizer thing. Like nobody's playing that fast. But I don't know. But yeah, everybody's on the fake guys thing. Yeah, I don't know why you do that. I don't get it. Like, especially when these people who are like already obviously pretty talented guitar players, like they're speeding it up by 10 or 20% or something. I'm like, just keep practicing, you'll get that fast. I mean, to a point. Like you could get there. There's no reason to just fake it, speed it. That's silly, in my opinion. Yeah, for me, he's talking about focusing so much on the blues. That's honestly what I focus most of my time on, that kind of blues related playing. It doesn't have to be like straight, you know. It doesn't have to be just that. I like that stuff. But I you know, I like a lot of different stuff. For me, it's just the feel, you know, the emotion behind the note. You know, which is why I like a lot of that bluesy kind of stuff. But I also like jazzy things and things that have interesting chord structure. What guitar is that? This is a super cheap Squire Bullet Mustang, like a $150 guitar. This is going to be the relic project. That's why I decided how we were talking about it. I'm just noodling. Any tips for internalizing chords as far as composing is concerned? Chord progression writing practice. I'm not the one to ask about that, honestly. I'm like, I understand some music theory and chord stuff, but there's some things that honestly I don't have a good enough grasp on to try and like explain to you. Like I would like to, but I don't think I would be a good one to explain that to you. But the main thing I think is to understand the difference between major and minor, like really understand notes that are related to major sounds and notes that are related to minor sounds, which starts off with just the third being major or minor. So if you're playing A, you play a major third. The difference between a major third and a minor third. Like that's the big thing. So once you understand that, then you understand how to make chords sound happy or sad, you know, and then you understand from there how to structure your leads to evoke those chords. You know what I mean? So like if I'm wanting to get an A major sound, but I'm not playing an A major chord, there's just an A note underneath it, and I'll probably you learn how to like find notes that you emphasize. I guess that's the thing. And that all becomes reciprocal. Like you're like, oh, this sounds good because whatever. You know, you start internalizing it that way. But I'm not the best one for that. Yeah, Gary Moore was amazing. He had his shreddy moments for sure though. Like some stuff where I'm like, man, get it, Gary. Yeah, great guitar player though. Just a reminder, signature pickups here from Planet Tone, if anyone's interested. I think they're running a sale right now, like maybe 20% off everything for the holidays, like the month of December, I think. So you can get your set of pickups for 20% off. That applies to everything, not just my pickups, but I do think these are the best pickups that he makes. I'm a little biased. They just sound great. Like harmonic clarity. Yeah, that's what's up. Kick it up. Yeah, David Gilmour is amazing. I love David Gilmour. Fantastic guitar player. Yeah, David Wellman is he's like got a really unique understanding of the guitar. The way that he plays is way more compositional, I think, and way more like thought out than guitar players usually are. We're kind of brash usually, like electric guitar players. We want to be loud, you know. But like David Wildman is way more like to the point in his playing, and he's got a firm understanding of music theory. He's a really good guitar player. John Sykes is really good too. Thank you, Trinity Lettuce TV. I'm watching your videos for quite a while. Awesome content. Thank you. Been on the hunt for Greco Les Paul. Yeah, they pop up, you know, from time to time. In my experience, if you buy one from a good, reputable Japanese seller, you're going to find the best deal that way. You do have to pay a little bit in shipping, but a lot of times it kind of balances out with the price of the guitar. Like both those behind me there were around $600, a little bit less than $600 shipped to me from, you know, and I'm on the East Coast of the States. So that's insanely good value in my opinion for how good they are. Have you ever listened to Julian Lage? Julian Lage? I don't know how you pronounce that. No, I can't say that I have. I'll put it on the list though. Putting it on the list right now. Bam. There we go. Lage. Gotcha. Have you ever listened to how to incorporate chords into blues lines? Well, there are a lot of times where instead of playing like a chord, I would play what's technically a double stop, but because of the thing that's happening underneath it, it implies a chord, you know. So like, for instance, one that I like to do a lot is the thing where I'll play like the what is this, the flat seven and then the major third at the same time, or the right. So what I'll do is I assume we're playing over A. Yeah. So you got that in your head. And then I'll play two notes, which is not technically a chord. That's more like a double stop, but I'll do this a lot. Yeah, so you're kind of like implying a chord that way. So I do a lot of that. Or sometimes I like to separate things and do kind of things that resonate. So like I'll play like this low A here, and then I'll grab the B string on the 7th fret, which is I don't even know what note that is, but I'll kind of do this. You know, so you bend it into where that's I like to do that kind of stuff a lot. Let's see. Slash is overrated. I like Slash a lot, especially in certain situations. Like I think Appetite for Destruction is like a freaking incredible album. Not to rag on Izzy Stradlin, I was playing that on that album too. But yeah, I mean, there's some great guitar playing going on there, and I really like the stuff that he's been doing with Miles Kennedy and like the Conspirators or whatever. Like that feels like old school good riffy Slash to me. So, but I do think a lot of times he gets the reputation of being like, oh my gosh, he's amazing, because he just looks like a rock star. You know what I mean? Like he has the look, the persona. He's a real chill dude. But he's a good guitar player. Like he's just not what I would call like the best guitar player in the world or anything. But I don't think he would claim to be. What is the price range for your signature pickups? I think they are usually $180 for the pair. But I think right now Planet Tone's running a sale for like 20% off or something like that. So they're going to be a little bit less than that. So interference between pickups protected against radio frequencies and changes the frequency response more than swap. All right, he's going full science on me there. I don't know. I try things, and if they sound good, I keep them in there. I like to pretend I understand a whole lot of this, but I especially when you get into electrical stuff, I don't understand it as well as like my dad does, for instance. I've been watching your channel for a while, man. I think the videos are great. Your dad is my father-in-law's doppelganger. Oh, cool. Do you enjoy talking about gear, players, or technique stuff the most? Kind of depends on who I'm with. You know what I mean? Like a lot of my friends are guitar players, but they're maybe not like at the same stage in their guitar playing career as like I am, for instance. Like I've been playing for 16 years or whatever, something like that. And despite the fact that maybe I'm not like the best like shredder guitar player in the world, the longer you play, the more you kind of understand certain things. And so some of my friends that are guitar players as well, they've been playing for 2 or 3 years. They don't understand technique and all that stuff the same way that I do. So with them, I probably talk more about gear, stuff like that. But like anytime I can find someone who's better than me, which I actively look for often, always try to play with people who are better than you. Like my friend Evan I used to work with is an incredible, awesome guitar player, multi-instrumentalist, but guitar player. And anytime he's around, I'm like, technique, I'm picking his brain. Like, what did you just do there? Well, what was that thing? So I like it all. Whiz pickups in the Greco. Yeah, I'm open to trying anything out. I generally, now I've gotten to where like I just kind of like sort of default to Planetone unless there's like something really specific that I'm going for. But just so far, Jose at Planetone has just been able to capture everything I've wanted in different pickups. You know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least like 6, 7. Some guitars with his pickups in them, and a lot of them are different sets of pickups. They just all sound really good. So I'm really into that. Ever going to grow your hair back out? I don't know. Maybe. I kind of cut it off like when my daughter was born and started, or you know, she's like probably 6 months old or something, and she started like getting into my hair and pulling on it and stuff. That was one reason I cut it. And also I found a lot of times like I'd be working on something like soldering or drilling or something, I'd be leaning forward. And so I'm always having to like put my hair back in a ponytail or whatever. And so I just kind of cut it off. But I don't know, maybe at some point. I don't think Heather likes it long very much, and she prefers it short. That's what counts, right? Happy wife, happy life. Happy spouse, happy house. Any thoughts on future guitar music and or music in general in the upcoming AI area? Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where that goes. I think the thing is with music in general, there has to be a point where whatever is the main happening thing kind of gets like played out, and so necessity will become the mother of invention, and somebody will do something new and interesting, and that's kind of, you know, how it evolves. Like guitar had been doing a certain thing for a long time, and the electric guitar happened, and that changed something for sure. And then like people like Clapton and Hendrix started changing that, and then all of a sudden you got guys like Eddie Van Halen like change again, and then so then I don't know. To me, grunge is in some ways kind of a downgrade as far as the technique is concerned, but I understand the movement. But then you like more recently you've gotten these guys like Periphery and stuff where they're doing these kind of really intricate like polyrhythms and crazy chord shapes and interesting stuff, and it all becomes very like technical but in an interesting way. So I think that's super cool. I don't know that I ever really want to see music be written by an AI though, because I feel like that the whole reason that we do music is like we decorate space with art and we decorate time with music, you know. So like if you have a robot do that, it's not like you're not capturing a living essence anymore. That kind of takes the point out of it for me. But I don't know. If it is good, if it sounds good, it is good. So yeah, I guess we'll see. A little philosophical on you there. That's why I watch your videos. You're better than me. I appreciate that, but like, man, if I had a nickel for every guitar player just on YouTube, like, or just in the same vicinity of subscriber count as me on YouTube, that were better guitar players than me. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many of them. Like, it's, you know, I can, like, you have to learn to accept that there's like always a bigger fish, and no matter how good you think you are or how good you might actually be, there's always some dude or dudette who's just like killing it a little bit better than you, and that gives you something to like aspire toward, you know. Like, so that's like, I really I think Robert Baker's doing some really cool stuff. He's got some unique sounding lines. Like when he plays lead, I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. I like what you did there. Not that it's just fast or interesting or whatever, but it's like there's a really neat melodic content happening underneath it. Like, it sounds different than anything I've heard. It makes me want to play. So I really dig that guy. Let's see. Tracy Guns wrote a few of those GNR Appetite songs that Two Slash replaced. Huh. I don't guess I knew that. Interesting. As a 43-year-old who had long hair, the patience for growing it back out gets less and less as you get older. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. My patience for dealing with long hair has definitely gotten less. Like, the older I got, the less I wanted to, like, you know, wash it, but then you gotta like condition it and like, brush it out, make sure it doesn't like get it knotted up and all that stuff. And I have other stuff to do. It takes more of my time. Please help me decide replacement neck for my alder strap body, stainless steel frets and roasted maple neck with maple fretboard or rosewood fretboard. That depends mostly on what you like. Like, I think maple kind of maybe feels a little like slicker kind of under your fingers. But if you have bigger frets, that doesn't make such a difference anymore because you're not really feeling the wood that much. But, you know, I think maple as a fingerboard has a little bit of an effect maybe on the sound. You know, not as much as like the neck being made of maple itself, but like the fingerboard, whether it's maple or rosewood, I think probably has a little bit of effect. But I think it's more about the feel and the look. So just whatever feels good to you. Like, I'm used to rosewood, so that's kind of what I default to, rosewood or ebony, but I have no problem with maple. In fact, my Telly's got a roasted maple neck and fingerboard, and it's great, but it has huge frets on it too, so I hardly ever touch the wood. Always a bigger fish, that's true. Yeah, always a bigger fish. I've always said the best guitarist in the world will never be heard because of lack of confidence. Yeah, that's probably true. In my mind, I'm imagining like somebody like Guthrie Govan, like in the old days before you could find guitar players on the internet just because of how good they were, like Tom Quayle or these guys that are just incredible guitar players, but they wouldn't have been Jimmy Page, you know, like, but they were great guitar players. I wonder how that would have worked out for them had they been, you know, in that time period rather than the information age now. Gibson Studio or comparable price Greco? That could be a tough question because I think the year, like when that Gibson Studio was made, makes a difference. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think new Gibson Studios are very good. They're not awful or anything, but I don't know. They feel like production line guitars to me, which is not a thing that I dig. But I have played some studios from the late 90s and early 2000s that were really, really good. They just felt like great Les Pauls. They just didn't look all dolled up like Les Pauls could be. So I think it depends on the year, you know, kind of whether it's something that you dig. And also the thing with Grecos is there's a lot of different models of Grecos, different time periods, and like different like tiers, you know. So like for instance, in the late 70s, like if you got an EG 700, I think, or up, so 700, 800, 900, 1000, 1200, whatever, those are going to be solid top pieces of maple, like mahogany back, solid maple on top. But some of these other guitars that are underneath that, like maybe 600, 500, whatever, in that 70s area, they might have a plywood top on them, and that changes the sound a fair bit. So you got to be you got to know what you're looking for with Greco, I guess is what I'm saying. So if you get a good Greco, awesome. They're great, fantastic guitars. But you need to do your research. You know what I mean? Like, whereas, you know, finding a good Les Paul studio from the right time period would probably be a little easier overall. But the Greco might be more rewarding in the end, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's whatever you want to spend the time on. Have you tried any wild audio guitars? No, I haven't. I think those are made by Schecter, which I think would be World Musical, that made like Schecter, and they did Chapman for a while, and I think for up until recently they were doing a lot of the PRS SE stuff. But I don't like EMGs, so that's like the thing for me. Whether or not I liked the guitar would be hard for me to judge, because I just don't like EMGs, and that would kind of make me dislike the sound of the guitar. I never played a guitar with EMGs in it, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Or if we're talking about like humbuckers, like the David Gilmour ones, that's a little bit different. But I just usually active pickups I don't like the sound of. But they do look really cool, and I think they probably have, like, I think they're probably well built. Like, that stuff's usually pretty well built. How would you go about such research? There's if you go back on my channel, I did a few videos where I was talking about getting my first Greco, and in one of those, there's a link in the description to a guy named Rob Hansen on YouTube, and he did a couple of videos really talking pretty well in depth about some of the like different models of Grecos and different years, and like what you're looking for and what you want. So that's one thing. I would watch his videos. He's was really helped me figuring out that first thing. There's a Facebook group on Facebook called Greco Vintage Guitars, and it's full of guys that are huge enthusiasts for Greco and other kind of vintage Japanese guitar brands. And these guys are just a wealth of knowledge. Like, it's been indispensably helpful to me trying to figure out what year something is, or where it was made or how it was made or whatever. These guys are really helpful. So yeah, I would say check out Rob Hansen's videos and go to Greco Vintage Guitars group on Facebook. You have to like ask to join, but they're really cool. Bunch of really cool guys. Did you know that the Greco model number is the cost in yen? Yeah, I think it's more than like EJ 500. I think it was more than 500 yen though, because 500 yen is like not much. I think it would have been like 50,000 or 500,000 yen or something like that. It's not a direct translation, because 500 yen is not very much at all. But yeah, I think that was what that meant. Yeah. Checked out any Epiphones lately? I think the Jared James Nickel model seems killer. I like that guy a lot. He's a really cool guitar player. I keep seeing him, like, I get the same emails you guys get, like from Musician's Friend and Epiphone and, all different companies. Like I think the ones where they do I don't care so much about the headstock. Like I think Epiphone would sell a whole lot more guitars if they put the Gibson headstock on it, the shape. But I don't care so much about that, really. It's the other things that they do that I tend to be like, ugh. Like when they'll make a guitar, like a Les Paul or whatever, and they'll make it all mahogany, and they'll put a flame maple veneer over the mahogany instead of putting like a maple cap on it. That's like a thing for me, because that does something to the way it feels and resonates and sounds to me. Some of their guitars, they do the full maple cap on, but some of them they don't. Or I also really don't like it when they do guitars that should have ebony fingerboards, like customs should have the ebony fingerboard, and they'll put rosewood on it. Oof, the way it looks, just like something about it throws me off. Doesn't mean it's not a good guitar, just like doesn't click with me. But they have some really good stuff here and there. The one thing I kind of like did the double exhale through my nose, like is when I saw this new Joe Bonamassa like Norm Burst guitar. Like, oh, we were replicating the Norm Burst, and I'm like, you just did a bad Sunburst Epiphone Les Paul. Like, I didn't think anything looked very special about it. I was like, oh, it doesn't have like Bonamassa's pickups or something, like you Seymour Duncan pickups in it or something. Just, I mean, if you're Joe Bonamassa, you can play whatever you want and you sound great, so it doesn't matter. But you know, it's just me. But that's the trick I think with Epiphones most of the time. Just put a good set of pickups in them. Like if you like the way the guitar feels and it stays in tune and stuff, just usually a good set of pickups will be all you need. And some of the newer ones they've been doing some better pickups. Even some of the, like I played a Dot a while ago that I like a Dot Deluxe that I worked on for somebody, and that guitar's pickup sounded really good. But I have also played a lot of Epiphones that the pickups like totally suck. So I think it depends. I don't know enough about it really, like their models of pickups to give you good advice. But aftermarket pickups are so inexpensive now. You know what I mean? Like a great set of aftermarket pickups is so inexpensive. Planetone, $60-some a pop. Seymour Duncan, Marzio, same kind of thing, $60, $70 a piece or something like that. So for less than $200, you can put a fantastic set of aftermarket pickups in the guitar. So, you know, it makes a huge difference, world of difference. 90s Japan-made Squire. Yeah, I played one of those a while back. I did a video on, a guy brought me one, my buddy that lives pretty close to me, brought me one to like kind of overhaul, do the setup, put new pickups in and everything. And that was a really nice guitar. Like it sounded great, especially after we put the like Fralin pickups in it and I redid the pots and everything. It sounded fantastic. Yeah, Happy makes some good stuff. Recently played an Happy Explorer back to back with the Gibson. The Happy felt better. There have been some experiences for me like that where I would play, like a lot of times, especially I find if it's the lower end Gibson or the like higher end Epiphone, the higher end Epiphone probably sounds and plays better. You know what I mean? It doesn't say Gibson on the headstock and it's not made in America, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a better guitar. Let your ears and your hands decide. But yeah, I've definitely played some like Les Paul Studios and tributes and stuff that were not as good as the comparable, like nicer high end Epiphone. That does happen. Have you tried asymmetrical necks that Warmouth or Music Crown Topper? I think maybe I did a guitar. I think I set up a guitar for a guy that had the Wolfgang neck profile from Warmouth, and I thought that felt pretty good. It was a little smaller than I'm used to, because like I said, I tend to like chunkier necks. But I think the asymmetrical thing is a good idea. You know, I totally get the point. I'm just used to old like 50s feeling necks, you know, and I think big necks like make the guitar sound better, I guess, maybe to me, like just a little, like more wood just sounds more better. If that makes sense. It howls. Sorry, Jacob, I missed your question. Harley Benton SC550 with upgraded pickups versus Gibson Studio. I don't know. It's kind of a similar thing, but also different in the sense that, like, if you're into more modern stuff, like you're playing more aggressive sounds, then you might want the Harley Benton, because I think that's probably gonna have a thinner neck and like a flatter radius and stuff like that. It's gonna feel more like a modern guitar, whereas this Gibson Studio could very well feel more like an old guitar. So it kind of depends on the sound and feel that you want, I guess. But honestly, like I would probably end up putting aftermarket pickups in the studio too. I've had not great track record with Gibson stock pickups. Some of the 57 classics I think sound pretty good in some guitars, but I do not like the 498 or the 500 or the 490 or 496. Like I don't like any of those. And some of the burst bucklers I don't like. Some of them are a little better than others, but overall I tend to just think Gibson's pickups are not their strong point anymore. Maybe they were in the 50s, you know, but like not so great now for me. I'd rather have some kind of aftermarket pickup that's more tailored to a specific sound. I guess I'm probably gonna hop off here in maybe about 5 minutes or so. So if anybody has any like kind of last minute questions or anything, be happy to take those before I peace out. Just love the sound. I like pearly gates. Yeah, those are great pickups. They sound really good. I like the pearly gates model in both the bridge and the neck. Thanks, Dwight. 57 soft V-shaped neck measurement seems familiar. Yeah, I like the V-shaped necks, like especially the what you would call the soft one, like the old Fender ones. I think they feel really good. The trick I think for me is that it has to be like deep enough with the neck in general. Like the neck I have on my Tele is a Warmint boat neck, which is like their fat neck profile, but with the V in it. So that works great for me. But yeah, I think Clapton's guitars have that soft V on them. I think that is jam. The ESP LTD single cuts are nice. Yeah, in my experience, if you get like a 400 and up from LTD, like EC 400, 401, any of those, whatever, those are like really good guitars. You know, whether or not you change the pickups or you like EMGs or whatever, but like the guitar itself, those are really well made guitars. What's the Black Friday deal of the year? I don't know. Like, that's a good question. I didn't really do a whole lot of Black Friday looking. You know, just keep your eyes open, maybe on like Reverb or something for somebody to drop something down used because they're trying to move it and trying to take advantage of that Black Friday thing. You might find something cool. About DiMarzio pickups. Yeah, I like DiMarzios. I use DiMarzios kind of more than anything else until I got into Planetone kind of a year or so ago. I like some of them in particular. Like I think the Crunch Lab is a great rock and metal pickup, and their PAF 36 anniversaries, which they may have replaced with something else now, but those were great sounding pickups, I thought. Can you play riff that you wrote that you were most satisfied with? Yeah, I really like, there's a song on our second record, on Intertwine's second record, called Cherry Whiskey, and the riff, like the chorus part of the riff goes like it's just like funky, you know. I really like that riff. That's like probably my favorite riff I've ever done as far as that. I mean, there's some that are kind of metal that I like too, but let's see. I've read numerous articles that EVH, Frankenstein, and SRB #1 are basically pieced together POS guitars. It's all about the player. Yeah, that's definitely true as far as it being about the player. I know EVH's first, like the Frankenstrat, was like seconds from like a Charvel, like kind of parts box sort of thing. Like it was definitely not the nice stuff. I think Stevie's guitar, like the one that he's most known for, was maybe like a 61 neck and a 59 body or something like that. Or, you know, it was like a parts caster, but it wasn't like necessarily like cheap parts. It was just that those guitars were not nearly as expensive back then as they are now. You could get them readily and easily. And so he just put the parts that he liked the best together, and that's what made the guitar. But yeah, it is about the player. Like, it's incredible watching guys that, you know, like they're just really, really great players. They just sound great through whatever they pick up. Yeah, I used a super distortion in some guitars for a long time. Like the SG had a super distortion in it for years, and that's a great pickup. I mean, it's a very particular sound, but it's a great tone. I think DiMarzio's, a lot of times I think they sound really good in parallel mode too. When you have like a push pull and you can put them in parallel. Yeah, I know the sound quality sucks. If you wanna hear any of that stuff, hang on here. One second. Okay, here you go. Yeah, if you wanna hear like the actual music from that, you can go check out. We've got 2 records on that website, and you can listen to them for free. SRV's original neck got broke. Yeah, I heard that later on it got like a light rig fell on it or something, and it snapped, and he had to put the neck off like the red Strat or something on it. I think before he died, they did fix it, but I can't even imagine. Like if you've done all that stuff with that guitar, you bonded with it, and then something falls and breaks the neck, like it will blow my mind. And then later, you know, now after he's gone, like to know that happened to his guitar, like Stevie's such a legend, crazy. Let's see. Honest thoughts on Mick Mars. I think Mick Mars is like a pretty good guitar player. Like, you know, I'd say he's as good or better than like, you know, Ace Frehley or something like that. I don't like that band really. I don't like hate Motley Crue, but like it's the guy's voice, Vince Neil or whatever. Like that's the thing that always threw me off about that band. Like the rest of the band, I probably would be into. Tommy Lee's a fantastic drummer, but yeah, just like not my thing. Expensive amp and cheap guitar or reverse. Yeah, generally the expensive amp with the cheap guitar is going to be better than the cheap, or like the expensive guitar with the cheap amp, because the amp really has like the biggest impact on your sound. I think overall, that's like what amplifies it. So, you know, you could play, well, like, you know, that little Mustang thing I was playing, that's like a $150 guitar, but this is a pretty good little amp and it made it sound great. But, you know, I could put this through a little cheap practice amp and this guitar is great and it's going to feel great, but it's still not going to sound like studio worthy, you know? So yeah, I would err on the side of, you know, get a guitar that plays well enough to not get in your way, but spend the money on the amp or like the pedals or whatever, you know, that part of the sound. Mick did write some really great riffs. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like a reflection of Mick in particular. It's more like the band as a whole. And then, like I said, kind of Vince Neil for me is like not my thing. Like I felt like everyone from that era was kind of trying to be like Van Halen, but not many bands were doing it the way Van Halen was doing it. Like they were kicking way too much butt with Roth or Hagar. It was killer both ways. And then Hagar, I mean, Roth's solo thing we did with Steve Vai was really, really good too. Less known great hard rock band for Guns N' Roses fan. Check out Silvertide. Let me, hang on, I'll find them for you. Like Silvertide was a band that came out like in the early 2000s, and I saw them. They opened up for Van Halen in like 2004, and they were killer. They were so good. Here's a link to a Silvertide song. They only did one album because they just didn't catch on, but it's like a fantastic album. If you like Guns N' Roses kind of stuff, you probably would like Silvertide. It's kind of somewhere between like Guns N' Roses and Zeppelin and like the Black Crowes, and I mean it's great guitar playing on that record too. any thoughts on the Black Crowes reunion? I'm excited. It's nice to see Jesus and Jesus's brother get back together. That's always cool. Yeah, I'm hoping maybe I'm going to get to go see them maybe in July or something. I've seen them once before, back before they broke up. But yeah, I'd like to see them again. I love the Black Crowes. They're amazing. EVH's 90s tone or early 80s, 70s. That's really tough. I like both a lot. Like I really like Eddie's Fair Warning tone. Like that's maybe not the best overall record. I think probably like Van Halen 1's like probably the best record from the Roth era. But the tone on Fair Warning is just like blistering. But I really like Eddie's tone on For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge a lot too. Like that 51 for Saldana 5150 era Music Man thing. Awesome. So those are probably my two favorite tones is like Fair Warning and like For Unlawful. Those are probably my favorite tones. Yeah, that's my dad and I always call him Jesus because he's just like as soon as he grew the beard out and he's like always wearing the flowy clothes and the way I'm like, oh, Jesus. So, my favorite band, that's tough. Like I have a few. Like Grand Funk Railroad is definitely like right at the top up there. Rush is amazing. I love Rush. I'm a huge Alter Bridge fan. I think who else? I really like Blackberry Smoke a lot. That's kind of some of the bigger ones, I guess. You know, I mean, I like all the all the classics everybody else does. But have you played through a 5153? Yeah, I actually had a 5153 50-watt head for a little while there. That was a really good amp. I can't even remember what I traded or sold it for exactly, but that was a good sounding amp. I thought that those new 5150s in particular, they have that big transformer that really just like stops on a dime, and it just makes the speakers and the cabinet go woof, and like, man, it feels like you're playing through a giant rig, even if you're only using like a 112 cabinet. Killer sounding amp. So way cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I guess I better head out. Good hang. Nice to talk to all you guys. Until next time, I guess. If you have any other questions or something, just kind of leave them in comments, and I'll kind of get back to you after I can get to it. But thanks for everybody for stopping by. I will catch you later.